Hey everyone, welcome to Dave's Bonsai. On today's episode, 365 days in the life of the Melon Seed Ficus. I promised you in the last video that we would have another tree that I took a lot of pictures of, and here it is. It's the Melon Seed Ficus. So in my journey this past year, 2021, to really focus on my trees, and I look at them once, twice, 3 times a day anyway, but I thought let's take pictures of the trees once a day for 365 days and watch the progression of growth. So as I had mentioned in the last video, if you haven't seen it, go check the playlist for the Fukian tea. But I wanted to watch the trees grow, so when I watched the video, I had to watch it several times. So when you watch this next part of the video, go back and watch it several times, or better yet, I am going to post the Melon Seed Ficus 365 day video just on its own after we finish this one as well. So coming up here is 365 days. Now again, I took some vacations last year, so there's a chunk in July and chunk in August that didn't happen. So there's a week or two missing there. And then there's some days that I just didn't get to the photograph, or I was at the cabin for the weekend. So I took a picture on Friday, we left for the cabin, I took a picture on Sunday, and on that day I took a couple pictures and I made sure that I had at least a picture in the space, so this would be 365 days. So this is almost 365 pictures, minus a few. I just wanted to be open and honest and very transparent with that. But what a fun journey. And when you watch the video, you actually have to watch it a couple of times because you'll see growth on part of the tree and you'll stop watching the other parts of the tree. So I have found that I've gone back and watched the video to see this side grow and then this side grow, and wait a minute, what about this back here? It's been pretty phenomenal. And we have trimmed this tree a couple times in the year. And when you do look at the before and after pictures at the end of the video, you do notice a little bit more thickness in this trunk right here. Super cool. After just 1 year of growth, you can actually see the tree looks a little bit thicker. Super fun. So before we trim this up today, the first time I've trimmed it in a while, let's go and watch the 365 days in the life of the Melon Seed Ficus. got to go back and watch it a couple more times myself. I just think it's so fun to watch these trees actually grow every day in some cases. There were growth spurts down in the plant room where I would come down and there'd be buds that weren't there the day before, I swear. And when you watch the pictures side by side, you can actually see growth, 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 literally day by day. Phenomenal. Super fun to see that. So this is a little cutting of a Melon Seed Ficus, one of my first cuttings from one of the first workshops that I volunteered at with the Minnesota Bonsai Society. I took some Melon Seed Ficus cuttings, I brought them home, and I put them in a pot, and they've been growing ever since. There might have been a little wire that was on this tree once in its life. I can't with 100% certainty say I've never wired this tree. I think I tried early on in its life. But if you don't take wire off of trees that grow fast in your plant room, you get some wire scars, and it's been clip and grow ever since. So directional pruning. I want this branch, I'll keep it. And so we're gonna cut this one up today, and it's gonna get even more movement. So this movement in this tree has all been mostly from clip and grow. And as you saw from the 365 days in the life of, you can see how little and choppy it gets, and then of course it grows into this cute little tree. Got this fun little ceramic oval pot and some really nice little jagged rocks in here for a little bit of landscape. And this almost looks like a little apple tree out in an orchard or something. It's just this short, stumpy little tree, as you can see from the size of my hands. You know, not a huge tree by any stretch. So I'm gonna come out front and we're gonna take a peek at this tree, and we're gonna do some pruning, and we're gonna cut this thing back again because it's loving life in the plant room. We've got some really thick new growth going on, and I wanna tell the tree which way I would like it to grow. So let's do that now. So I'm in front of the tree now, and we've got a really thick base down here now. So remember, this tree, if you wanna go look at the playlist for my ficus trees, this Melon Seed Ficus started as a cutting no thicker than probably these branches back in here. This tops. And look at down here now, compared to my chopstick, it's 5-6 times bigger than this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, it's really thick. Now there is this little bit of inverse here before this thick main trunk and this one over here comes up. So I'm hoping over time this will fill in a little bit and look a little bit more natural. I don't know if I have to cut this branch off completely to make it flow more into a thicker to thinner. So there is this little inverse here that bothers me a little bit, but again, hopefully in time, as we work on this tree, we can get rid of more of that. But this thing is starting to flare out at the bottom more. So when I repot this next, we'll lift it up out of the pot just slightly a little bit more. Because as you peel away some of this sphagnum moss and soil, you've got a nice chunky trunk down here, which is starting to look really pretty nice. So thick trunk down here. The roots are developing nicely, and then we want the top part of the tree to do the same. So that's the proposed front right now. When you do look around to this side, it has a nice, more welcoming front right here, but then of course this thick branch now has become so dominant that we would have to cut this entire branch off to make this the front, which you still could do with this tree, because look at this branch right here. Look at that new growth. We could cut this entire tree off and make the tree go over to the right, and it would grow like crazy. The rest of the tree now here does kind of push back this way. It kind of goes this way, and it's flat this way. We got a little bit of a flatness to this tree here. We don't have a round tree top at the moment. And this one is really thick and still shooting up a lot of new growth, as you can see from the other side now, the front here. Look at this side branch right here. This inside branch right here is starting to really take off all of a sudden. Here's the last big chop. If you look back at the video, this was a big chop. And then this is some really strong growth now, and back here is some strong growth now. So I can choose where I want this tree to grow. And there's so many branches in here, and there's T branches in here. There's little leaves right here that are just growing underneath main branches that we can cut off. There's a few that are kind of weak and dying off in here because they're probably starting to not get light. And this section right even here, this big old top section is top heavy right now. It's super big. And there's so many little offshoots right here that want to grow, and like, which one do I want to keep? And then look at this guy right here. This is growing from back down underneath this branch right here. It's growing right here, and it's already like almost 1.5 inches, 2 inches tall, trying to reach up and be tall. So we just have to cut this tree up some more. Now it's been in the plant room for a month or two, 3, November, December for sure, and probably parts of October. So 2.5 to 3 months, and it's loving life. We can prune this now, and it's going to be able to take off for the rest of the life in the plant room and continue to grow. We just have to figure out which ones we want to keep and which ones we want to toss. So we're going to take a closer look. When you look closer at this one right here, this one grows, splits into two, and there's one behind it. So there's all kinds of growth on this thing already, and we have to make some decisions. I'll grab my cutters back here. And if I even keep this one in the back I don't want. So right there, this right here had two more branches, or another branch growing behind it. But look at it, it grows and it's split right there into two. Talk about wonderful ramification. Now, the problem with it there though is it's in the middle of the tree growing this way, and we have this whole structure back here that it'll completely block someday. So we probably don't want to keep that there. So we take something like that off. If I repot this next summer, which I will repot this in the summer because it's been in this pot for, I think, coming up on 2 years. It'll be 2 years next year. I might make this more the front. And if I do that, do I tilt it a little bit more forward? You know, again, we have this tree that's leaning that way a lot, so we want to try to push some growth out to the front this way, which all these are trying to do right now. So we've got this branch right here. Let's start with the right side. It grows up, and it kind of wiggles around over here and grows up here, and this one kind of comes up here. It's really kind of thick down in here. We got a little bit of a bulge down there to think about. I'm going to cut this branch down here. And this one's growing in kind of an odd spot. It's before the bulge. If we actually cut the tree off right here below the bulge, this could become the new leader of this little branch right here. Little pieces, parts here that we can trim off. This is growing inside this curve right here. We cut that off. We got one that's dyed right here that's really tiny. There you go. So this is my dilemma right here. This is kind of a bulgy area right here. So if I were to cut this branch off right here and get rid of this whole section and let this tree back here be the new leader, this branch right here, if you can see right here, I'll get my chopstick in there for you, right in here. And there's even this one up here, so can that take over for this stump right here? I would have to clear that stump off a little bit. I could do that right now. Not much, I'm gonna get too close to that other piece. So I have this dilemma here. So it's thin here and thicker here, right? Again, reverse taper, like it happened down here. I don't want that to happen again. So we want, and here's why it's bulking up. Look back here, everybody. You see that? 1, 2, 3 branches right there, and this one's trying to grow in the back too. But look at this nice division there, nice movement, but it's thick. And now that 3 right there, all that energy is thickening this whole section up, I think. It's part of what's thickening it up, right? So we certainly don't want all 3 of those. And actually, I don't know that we want any of those. So look at all that energy. All that energy was going to that branch right here, and it's gonna make it continue to get thicker. So now most of the growth is out here. But we have all this growth in here, so what can we do? What can we save? If I do cut off that little stub right there, I have this branch right here growing nice and strong. See it right there? And it's got some interesting movement. We can leave that here. We can take this one off for right now. And for right now, I will leave, I think I'll leave this one right here just to see what it does. Because now I have a branch growing out the back and out the front here. Maybe we cut this whole branch off one day. I'm going to cut the stub back a little bit more. This is growing more down. I want it to grow up now. So what do I do with all this? Massive growth, all growing from this one main branch here. But let me show you the back. There's this one down here. But this is all from one branch right here. This is all from one branch, because here it subdivides, and then it goes up there. That's all one branch from right there. So this was the old cut part. About right up to here was the old cut part. I just cut off some more. It curves this way and squiggles up this way, and this is all of this greenery is from right there in a stump that was nothing, or something like this. So you know it's going to grow thick and ferociously. I don't want it to go out any further this way right now. I want it to go more up. I'm just taking all that off. All of that foliage is taking all of the energy from the tree. So we're going to leave this one right there and the one in the back. So I will cut off the tip. And I will cut off the tip. There we go. And look at how much I cut off of all that. That was big and bushy. I still have 2 branches here. I have this guy here and this guy here. We're just going to leave that alone for right now. And I'll have to seriously consider what happens with this right here. This growth right here could start to thicken up this a little bit more. I just don't want this to be super thick here now. So that's why I cut off all the energy from up here to kind of pause it in maybe something else. Maybe we'll even get a branch down here and here again at these 2 junctions. These were old leaf scars right here and here. We just don't want this big bulge right here to get bigger. We want this branch to get bigger. So hopefully this and this will feed down into that. And we'll see what happens with that. If I wanted to take a really bold move, I would cut this branch right here and let this little guy and this guy be the new life of this tree. I'm going to hold off for one more growth spurt and see. So now we have this middle section and the left section. Now this back section does go, you know, it's hidden behind this. So if this is the proposed front, right about there, this is the proposed front, this is kind of blocked by all this over here. So either I change the front to this and change the angle to maybe more like this, or maybe I change it up like this a little bit, but it's leaning this way already. So the trunk leans this way, and then the tree kind of bends up and grows up. So I want to be careful here not to just chop ferociously, thinking that this will be the front forever, because maybe I would twist it just a little bit. But I like the slant of the trunk here, and it shows like it's really gripping the earth, like that grip of the earth is here, and it moves up and it grows up, so I really like that. But can we thin this one out? And here's the question. If I get rid of this big chunk right here, this back here becomes the main chunk of the tree, but then we have this new growth right here, which could take over for this, but over here more, to spread out the branch to this side, and center. Now there'd be a big scar up front here for a while, but again, this tree will grow fast and it heals pretty fast as well. So before I even do that though, this little side growth right here, this is growing inside. I don't want that right now. So I'm going to take that off. All right. I got a spider up in the tree. A little spider up there. There we go. Look at that. He's going to have to find a different home there. We'll see what he does. Oh, there he goes. He just went down to the earth. So I have to think if I want to keep this thick branch. I know I can cut it back because I've got a lot of new growth right there. I know because I've chopped this tree many times that it'll grow back even with a big chop. And you can see the thick growth here, boom, boom, and boom, since I chopped this one. A lot of nice growth. So you can make a trunk chop and this is going to grow. There's even a little one trying to grow right there. So some tough decisions. There's an inner branch in here. I can just cut right off. So my first thought was to just cut this branch off right here. Just cut it off and have this be the new leader and shorten it up, and then it'll grow. So then we have some movement from the main trunk movement over here to this side, and we lose this, but it's a nice split into two right there. And look, there's even some growth right there. Splits off into two. We've got this growth in the front, which is delicate. There you go, it just falls right off. So I don't know if I want to cut that off right now. I'm considering now, we've got this section right here that's just so long, and it's not doing anything anymore until over here. Maybe I cut that whole section off. My biggest nerve about cutting this off is the scar it's going to lead. And will we see it for a long time? One of the things I could do is start right there. So there's my big cut. That's a big cut. And that's a big scar. But I cut it too close to that branch. So we're going to cut it the rest of the way. There we go. We're going to clean this cut up. And I've completely changed the design of this tree by that cut. And is that a major cut? It is for sure a major cut. We're going to be looking at a scar for a little while here. But I've got this branch right here growing on the outside of a curve. When this gets real thick in a couple of years, you'll hardly know that that other branch was there. And then we've got so much growth up here that we have to pick and choose what we want to save. Now all these branches are on the inside. I want some branches here. So what am I going to do about that? There will be some back budding as I cut all this away, so I'm not too worried about it happening. I will cut this now. Right there. We cut off all that growth. I will cut off this inside growth because it looks like it's growing the opposite of this branch right here. Inside. There we go. I'll cut off the tip here. Cut off this down leaf right there. All right. So I'm going to cut this here because I've got this growth right here and this leaf right here that's growing to the left. So it makes the tree grow back over to the left. It's a little high, but I will get more growth down here. And if not, we'll chop it down further in the future year. I'm going to get rid of this one in the back though. There we go. And I think that's where we're going to stop on this tree. So when you go back and look at the before and after of this tree, we just took a lot off. We took about 95% of this tree off. Darn near 100%. I got rid of the real thick trunk here, so now you see thick at the bottom. There is this little inverse taper here, thick here, and it kind of comes up and curves and then goes up this way, and it's thinner up here than it is down here just by a little bit. And if I can get some back budding somewhere in here with all the light coming in now here, these trees do like to grow off the tips a lot. So I'm going to get a lot of growth here, a lot of growth here, a lot of growth here, and then hopefully this will continue to shine. But we probably will get some more growth around here as well, some back budding, so we'll have to support that growth as it comes in. But in the meantime, there we go. We have the Melon Seed Ficus chopped up. So there we have the new Melon Seed Ficus, super tiny once again. As you see my hand here, doesn't even come up 2/3 of the length of palm to fingertips. As we spin it around, it's got that one really funky branch that now goes that way. Doesn't even look so bad that way. If we were to tilt it up like this, right? We keep spinning it around. Yeah. This may be the front someday, right? We'll see how it grows. What a fun project. This one was fun to watch in the 365 days in the life of too, because of all the new growth. And when you saw some days where it just grew and it grew and it grew, like day after day after day for 2 or 3 days in a row. So go back and watch that 365 days in the life a couple of times and watch the different sides of the trees, and you notice some different parts growing. Fascinating. Time lapse, kind of done the hard way. Time lapse where I took a picture every day of the year last year. So what a fun project. Hey, that wraps up another one. So if you want to watch the 365 365 days in the life, well, you could rewatch this video, but I'll also post it separately. And then I also did the Fukian tea just before I did this one. So the Fukian tea and the Melon Seed Ficus, 365 days in the life. Really cool to see from start to finish and all the pruning. And what's nice now is I can go back and look at that and see what it did at certain times of the year. And I know now kind of when this thing grows, when it grows well, and how it reacts to pruning. Was a great educational tool for myself. I hope it helps you a little bit. That's my goal here, right? To continue to learn and share your comments as well. So thank you so much for watching. Happy New Year. We've got some bonsai pot tank updates coming up next. Yeah, we're getting close to planting trees on that thing. It's gonna be a great year. Take care of you, take care of your bonsai, and we'll catch you very soon.